Preparation for the middle way. To sum up, ordinary people who are not yet proficient in wisdom require guidance and encouragement from others. For them, wisdom development begins with the external factor of virtuous friendship in order for faith to be established. Faith here refers to the confidence springing from a well-reasoned discernment. From here one reaches the function of internal factors, beginning with applying the knowledge on which faith is based in order to think independently from others in an analytical way. Such analytic reflection gives rise to right view and advances the development of wisdom, resulting eventually in clear knowledge and vision, jnana dasana. Because faith, sada, is a very important factor, and when it is appropriate and used correctly, it is compatible with analytical reflection, leading to wisdom and right view. Let us review its practical dimensions. 1. On the level of virtuous conduct, sila, faith is based on principle, protecting one's virtue, holding one back from acting immorally, and establishing one firmly in upright behavior. Although one's faith may not yet be accompanied by wisdom, it is still valid. Indeed, in many circumstances, faith based on deep-seated beliefs is more effective on the level of moral conduct than faith based on wise reflection. 2. On the level of concentration, samadhi, faith is conducive to concentration, leads to rapture and bliss, deep tranquility, and an absence of restlessness and agitation. It also leads to determined effort, courage, fearlessness, focused attention, potency, and stability. Although faith in this context is also based on deep-seated convictions rather than grounded reasoning, it too is valid. Although this faith based on beliefs is effective for these two levels of practice, it has the disadvantages of leading to narrow-mindedness and an unwillingness to listen to others, and sometimes it is the cause for oppressing others due to one's personal beliefs. And importantly in this context, it is not supportive to wisdom development. 3. On the level of wisdom, panya, faith is conducive to wisdom, beginning with establishing mundane right view. From here it links with wise reflection in two ways. First, faith is a channel enabling virtuous friends to point out how to think constructively, to encourage people to apply wise reflection. Otherwise they may not be open to guidance and teaching. Second, it prepares the foundation or context for some subjects of contemplation and independent reflection. Faith at this stage is clearly connected to wisdom. It is the most desirable form of faith. To ensure that faith supports wisdom in the process of analytical reflection, yoniso manasikara, there are several factors to bear in mind in regard to one's practice vis-a-vis faith. First, to have rational faith, or to have beliefs accompanied by reasoned thinking. One's faith is not of the kind that forces one to believe. The object of faith does not need to be accepted according to rigid stipulations or followed without giving an opportunity to reasoned discernment. One's faith neither obstructs nor coerces one's thinking, nor does it lead to an unwillingness to listen to others. Instead, it supports reasoned analysis and contributes to wisdom development. Second, one's behavior is marked by satya nuraka, a guarding or love of the truth. One is devoted to truth and one expresses one's faith honestly and accurately. One has the prerogative to state one's beliefs. For example, by saying, "These are my beliefs," or "I believe in that," but one doesn't use one's faith as the decisive factor for determining truth. One does not insist that the truth accord with one's beliefs, or declare something that is merely belief as the absolute truth. For example, instead of saying, "This matter is this way," one declares, "I believe that this matter is this way." Third, one uses one's faith or one's beliefs as a foundation for analytical reflection, giving rise to wisdom. In other words, faith is not an end in itself, but is rather an instrument or ladder leading to a higher goal. The objective of faith is wisdom. This corresponds with the standard sequence of wisdom development: association with virtuous people, to listening to the true Dhamma, to faith, to wise reflection, etc. Following on from wise reflection is the arising of right view, samadhi, which marks the advent of the middle way, the beginning of a virtuous, righteous way of life. The triple gem as a conduit to the middle way. The triple gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, is a cornerstone for Buddhists. Generally speaking, taking refuge, sarana-gamana, in the triple gem is a symbol of being a Buddhist or a lay disciple. Even stream enterers possess the attribute of being one with firm. Even stream enterers possess the attribute of being one with firm, unshakable faith in the triple gem. It is thus worthy of study to determine how reverence for the triple gem fits into the practice of the middle way. Both the respect of the triple gem expressed by going for refuge by general people and the unshakable faith in the triple gem belonging to stream enterers clearly indicate the prominent role of faith, sada, for Buddhists at initial stages of practice. From what has been described above, one can see that faith is part of the beginning stages of the middle way. In particular, it helps to link people with virtuous friends, kalyanamitta, or wholesome instruction by others. The aim is to link faith with analytical reflection, yoniso manasikara, and most importantly for faith to lead to wisdom, to give rise to right view, samadhi, which is the first factor of the Noble Eightfold Path and the middle way. Here we can see the clear relationship between the triple gem and practice in accord with the middle way, in that faith in the triple gem is a conduit to the middle way. To add to this explanation, one should consider the four factors of stream entry, sota patti yanga, also known as the four virtues conducive to growth in wisdom, panya, buddhi, dhamma. 1. Saparisa samseva, association with virtuous people, association with the wise. 2. Dhamma savana, hearing the true Dhamma, learning what is correct and good. 3. Yoniso manasikara, wise reflection, proper attention, skillful consideration. 4. Dhamma nu Dhamma pati pati. Practicing minor principles of Dhamma, consistent with major principles, practicing the Dhamma correctly. This group of factors is referred to by many other names, including qualities conducive to the realization of the fruit of Srimantri, up to the realization of arahantship. Monks, these 4 things, when developed and cultivated, lead to the realization of the fruit of Srimantri, to the realization of the fruit of once returning, to the realization of the fruit of non-returning, to the realization of the fruit of arahantship. What for? Association with superior persons, hearing the true Dhamma, wise reflection, practice in accord with the Dhamma. Association with superior persons, saparisa sam seva, is equivalent to having virtuous friends, kalyanamita. The Buddha is the supreme superior person and virtuous friend. Associating with wise people and having virtuous friends leads to beneficial instruction by others, parato gosa. That is, hearing or learning the Dhamma, true wholesome teachings. Systematic reflection of the Dhamma, reflection in line with the Dhamma, gives rise to wholesome qualities and to wisdom, which comprehends things correctly according to the truth. Moreover, it leads to a Dhamma practice that is authentic and true to the goal. The correct practice of the Dhamma, Dhamma nu Dhamma pati pati, culminates in the realization of Srimantri, all the way to the realization of arahantship. Those who practice for these noble realizations comprise the genuine Buddhist community. They are called the community of disciples, Savaka Sangha, or the noble community, Arya Sangha, and they represent the Sangha in the Triple Gem. In this sense, one can describe the duties by Buddhists in relation to the Triple Gem as the following. To start with, one acknowledges the Buddha as the virtuous friend. One then listens to and studies the Buddha's teachings. From here, one reflects wisely on these teachings, thus completing the 2 preliminary stages of the middle way, virtuous friendship and wise reflection, which are the prerequisites for right view. When one sees things correctly according to the truth, one practices the Dhamma correctly. Dhamma nu Dhamma pati pati. One follows the middle path of practice, Majjhima Patipada. One completes this path with the attainment of arahantship, and is consequently a noble being, Arya Pugala, and a member of the noble Sangha. As a noble being, one is able to assist others and to act as a virtuous friend, one step down from the Buddha himself. Furthermore, the Sangha is a model community for society, a gathering point of those who receive the benefits of having the Buddha as a virtuous friend and of following the path of righteousness, Dhamma Magga. The Sangha is a source of virtuous friendship for others. It is a field of merit, punya keta, increasing and spreading goodness in the world. The Sangha is one of the mainstays of the Triple Gem. The inclusion of the Sangha in the Triple Gem reveals how much importance Buddhism gives to the involvement and participation by virtuous people in society, which is improved and elevated through the collective effort. Internally, or in relation to the mind, members of the Sangha are safeguarded by their states of realization. Externally, or in relation to life in society, their safeguards are the formal discipline, Vinaya, communal harmony, and mutual friendships. The relationship between these principles of the four factors of stream entry, practice according to the middle way, and the triple gem can be illustrated thus. 1. Association with the wise, Saparisa Samvesa, equals virtuous friendship, Kalyana Mitata, equals the Buddha as the supreme friend. 2. Hearing the true Dhamma, Sat Dhamma Satvana, equals wholesome instruction by others, Bharato Gosa, equals the Dhamma. 3. Wise reflection, Yoni So Manasikara, equals wise reflection, equals one's duty in regard to the Dhamma. 4. Practicing the Dhamma correctly, Dhamma nu Dhamma pati pati, equals the path, Magga, equals to enter into the noble Sangha. From what has been said above, it is possible to provide a brief definition for the triple gem as follows. 1. The Buddha, the one who realized and taught the Dhamma, discovered the path and revealed it to others, and acted as the foremost virtuous friend. He represents an ideal confirming the goodness, capability, and wisdom that human beings can train in and develop in themselves, culminating in the attainment of the supreme state. 2. The Dhamma, the principles of truth and virtue which the Buddha discovered and taught. Faithful disciples should listen to, study, and contemplate these teachings with wise reflection in order to correctly understand the truth, cultivate the path, and reach spiritual fulfillment. 3. The Sangha, the community of individuals who practice according to the path and who have reached success. Those people who trust that this community of awakened individuals is truly excellent should participate in building and joining this community by cultivating the path and experiencing its fruits. Such practice begins with emulating the external traits and characteristics of noble beings, of moral discipline, communal harmony, and mutual friendship. Virtuous friendship, wise reflection of the Dhamma, and practice in accord with the Eightfold Path prospers and reaches fulfillment in a community which lives in accord with the principles embodied by this noble Sangha. The Triple Gem is a refuge in so far as recollection of the Triple Gem reminds one to use correct methods for solving problems and ending suffering. One follows the teachings on the Four Noble Truths and walks the Noble Path, Arya Viti. At the very least, this recollection helps prevent one from doing evil, generates a determination to do good, builds confidence, dispels fear, and strengthens and brightens the mind. Appendix. Translating Pali terms from the Kalama Sutta. Attempting to translate the 10 factors connected to belief contained in the Kalama Sutta is one example of how difficult it can be. to satisfactorily and accurately translate Pali terms and phrases. In this case, one of the reasons for this difficulty is that these phrases lack a verb form. They simply contain the term ma, which translates as do not, grammatically referred to as an interjection, neat pata. Let us look at the first three factors as an example. Ma anusawena, do not, by way of holding to oral tradition. Ma paramparaya, do not, by way of lineage of teaching. Ma itikiraya, do not, by way of hearsay. The problem here for translators is deciding which verb to place within the ellipsis. Traditionally, this problem has been solved by translating this phrase as do not believe. For a closer inspection of this matter, one should examine Thai translated versions of the Tipitaka. When Buddha Dhamma was first published in 1971, there existed only one Thai translated version, Thai Tipitaka, a tribute to 25 centuries of Buddhism, 2500 BE, which translates this phrase as Ya Yut Deo, do not grasp, do not assume. Questioning the accuracy of this translation, I examined the commentarial explanation for this phrase. In this context, the commentaries add the verb kan hita, rendering the phrase similarly as do not grasp, do not assume. This interpretation is consistent with other commentarial texts. These 10 factors are found in other suttas, for example, the Salha Sutta and the Bhattadiya Sutta. Commentaries to the Bhattadiya Sutta, for example, provide the same interpretation as Ma Gan Hita. This indicates that the translators of the Thai Tipitaka attribute to 25 centuries of Buddhism, 2500 BE, translated this passage corresponding to the commentarial explanations. Still not fully satisfied with this translation, I need to consider the alternatives. Besides wishing to convey the sense of these passages accurately, one reason why I endeavoured to find a suitable translation is because when Buddha Dhamma was first published 36 years ago, Thai people had only just begun to hear about and discuss the Kalama Sutta. This sutta was already familiar among Westerners, who found it interesting and astonishing that here was a religion that told people to suspend belief. There is no obligation to belief. This interest then extended to Thai people, but instead of applying this meaning for the pursuit of wisdom, many Thai people interpreted this teaching for the sake of causalness, glibness, or frivolity. Some people claimed jokingly or disparagingly that the Buddha taught people not to believe their teachers and mentors. As a result, many teachers of Buddhism during that time period would try and emphasize that the Buddha's teachings in the Kalama Sutta do not mean that one should disregard one's teachers. These were some of the issues involved in trying to find a suitable translation for these passages. Besides providing accurate data and factual evidence on these matters, it is also important to allow readers to access the original information, along with related material, in the most complete way as possible, so that they can consider these matters independently. There is also the danger that the opinions by an author or interpretations by a translator conceal the original information, and that authors or translators inadvertently monopolize ideas. In the case that authors or translators come up with new interpretations or translations, it behoves them to inform the readers of this and share that with them the original data, so that the readers can distinguish between what is the original and what is new. In regard to material within the Tipitaka, it is helpful and suitable to provide explanations from the commentaries and other texts. The more the better, because this will provide an opportunity for students of Buddhism to apply their own judgment in these matters. This corresponds with the principle of viewing the Buddhist scriptures as a source of knowledge, rather than as texts requiring unquestioned belief. In this book in particular, whereby the aim is to describe the traditional Buddhist teachings, rather than to express personal interpretations, it is important to produce as much supportive data as possible. In the case that personal understanding and interpretations are expressed, they should be clearly distinguished from the source material. For example, the words of the Buddha contained in the suttas. Because I hadn't yet come up with a suitable alternative, I continued to use the translation Ya Yut Deo, do not grasp, do not assume, contained in the Thai Tipitaka, a tribute to 25 centuries of Buddhism, 2500 BE, and based on the commentaries, but with an explanatory footnote. The original edition of Buddhadhamma, 1971, contained within the Wan Wai Ta Ia Kon collection, contains this footnote. The term "do not assume" here is an interim phrase, as no adequate substitute has been found. Understand this phrase to mean do not make a judgment or establish an opinion on an absolute or categorical way based on any of these factors alone. A year later, in 1972, I began on a dictionary of Buddhism, which was first published in 1975. Here, in regard to the 10 means for dealing with doubtful matters, as contained in the Kalama Sutta Kaniyata Na, I began to use an alternative translation, which seemed more satisfactory, namely, Yat Dong Ji Chui, do not decisively believe, be not led by. This translation does not conflict with the commentarial interpretation Mat Gan Hit Da, do not be led by report, Anut Sawa, do not be led by tradition, Parampara, be not led by hearsay, Iti Kira, be not led by the authority of text, Pitaka Sampadana, be not led by mere logic, Taka, be not led by inference, Naya, be not led by considering appearances, Akara Parivitaka, be not led by the agreement with a considered and approved theory, Diti Nija Na Kanti, do not be led by seeming possibilities, Rupata, be not led by the idea, this is our teacher, Samano no Garuti. In 1996, the Thai Tipitaka Maha Chula Long Korn Raja Vidyalaya University edition was printed, and for each of these 10 factors, the translation applied the phrase Yat Blong Yi Shuya. In 1978, I began to work on the expanded version of Buddhadhamma, Buddhadhamma Revised and Expanded Edition, which was first printed in 1982. Though many changes and additions were made to this expanded version, I did not change the translation of this phrase in the Kalama Sutta, according to the changes made in the Dictionary of Buddhism. In contrast, the Dictionary of Buddhism terminology, first published in 1979, contained the changes made in the Dictionary of Buddhism. Instead, the volume Buddhadhamma Revised and Expanded Edition contains the following footnote. The expression here, ya yuteo, means to not make a judgment or establish an opinion in an absolute, categorical way based on any of these factors alone. It should be understood as corresponding to the expression Yat Blong Ju Jue. Moreover, one should not interpret this expression to mean that the Buddha taught his disciples to disbelieve these particular things, and rather to believe in other things. The Buddha warned his disciples from being utterly convinced, even by these highly inspiring qualities. One should not be too eager to believe in them, and take them as the ultimate criteria for truth, as they may possibly be incorrect. He encouraged people to carefully reflect on these highly inspiring and credible factors with wisdom. Consider how much care we must take when we engage with other factors and people. Although I have provided these various translations along with the background on how they have been determined, this does not confirm that they are the most suitable translations. Students of Buddhism can refer to the information and source material presented here in order to increase their own understanding on this matter. In the same vein, if one encounters a more suitable translation for this phrase, one should accept it with satisfaction. Apart from learning about this specific subject matter, one may gain an appreciation here for how complicated and difficult it can be to translate Pali terms and phrases contained in the Buddhist scriptures.